Okay, so to start the video off, I want to make a city in Scrap Metal. Now, not an incredibly detailed one. Mostly I can destroy it later with a few of my weapons I've made in the past year or two, since they'd be quite cool. So I'm not very good at building, and it's going to become very obvious in this city, but I want to make it as destructible as possible, so I'm even going to make the ground. So, well, yeah, it really becomes quite desolate after a while. So, just for like the dirt, I'm just using sand blocks and I'm going to colour brown. In this video, I don't like build with mods, like there's no modded blocks or anything, but I do use mods to assist like the building because it's a lot easier with mods. So that's just a heads up. So anyway, it was pretty easy just to start off, as I just want to make a single tile, as this save it consists of tiles since it'd be really easy to construct them, and lots of them would be repeats obviously, but it's still, well, it'll still be a city. So first I was just creating an empty tile, which is basically just going to be the base of every single one. And each tile is going to have a sewer in it, which isn't really for any purpose except to see how deeper explosion penetrates really. So the sewers were pretty plain, but they were in every tile, so they'd be a good indicator of obviously how far it penetrated. So these didn't take too long either, they took around like, well, 10 minutes. And then I also had the base tile. Now these sewers were relatively, well, they were quite important, but they were never really used that much, and I didn't really do much with them. But eventually we always had the starting tile. This is how tall it was, which is pretty tall, and it's going to make it building state a lot harder, but it's definitely going to be worth it. As in the end of the video, some of the explosions almost got to the bottom, which was quite surprising. But anyway, first I started on the road tiles, as they're really good filler tiles, and because they take a lot of space. And obviously, well, I can't bother to make loads of tiles, so they're really easy, well, tiles to make, and they take up a lot of space, which is going to be good for when we build the city. Now this is just a, well, an intersection with 4 ways, but then I obviously built all those tiles, like a T section and like a blah blah blah, I don't know really. Basically just like corners and other stuff. So then I started working on the buildings. And the buildings are relatively, well, important as well, as they, well, obviously add more height, but there's basically just going to be the same buildings. There's going to be, well, a house, a fire station, a building, well, 3 types of buildings, just going to be tall and have different stuff in them. Now, there's only one empty building, which I don't know why, but it's added a bit more variety, so I kept it in. Now, these took surprisingly long, and also, they didn't look that good, and I also ran out of things to put in them, and eventually things got pretty bad. Now, making the tiles was one of the hardest parts, but also constructing was also pretty hard, which is a bit annoying, but anyway. Now, the focus is more going to be destroying the city, as building it was relatively, well, painful, let's just say. It just took a very long time, but it doesn't matter. So in one of the buildings I was going to have a shop, which was very, well, kind of, it just had stuff you could look at really, no counter. I don't know, I'm not very good at building, let's just say. But anyway, it looked okay, but definitely not the best. It doesn't really matter since you probably won't be looking in the shops, and also it's probably going to be gone later on in the video. So then I started creating well, park, which is going to be another building, just had a bit more variety. Now they all look pretty bad, and the trees looked like they're made out of plastics, and they actually were made out of plastic block, which is a bit ironic. But then they went back to the buildings. This is the second building, which is going to have an office in it, which, well, it's going to be a pretty small office. But anyway. So we're pretty close to finishing all the tiles. There's only a few more that need to be done. So I started on the fire station. Now this was one of the most bland tiles in the entire thing. Like, there was nothing in it since I was kind of getting lazy at this point, and also running out of time for this video, as I wanted it to be done, well, in time. Now this was also a 2x2 tile, which meant that it was way bigger, even though half the space was not took up. But it did take up lots of space, which is quite useful, and it made the city look a lot bigger. So yeah, decorating this wasn't very good, as I couldn't want to make it like a realistic fire station, so I just put loads of random things in it, or from the parts menu, and it looked okay. I also tried and I thought I should add a fire truck, but I realised that I didn't really want to add a fire truck, so I just got a car and painted it red, which is basically the same thing. And I worked on the house, which is going to be more like the cabin or cottage or something, I don't know. And they would also have a bunker in the garden for some reason, which is just going to be like a little room underground, basically. We'll see how helpful that is later on in the video. Now, this was probably one of the easiest ones to make, and it actually didn't look too bad. Like, I generally would have probably mind living in it. At least it'd probably be the best one to live in out of all the houses. But then I started constructing this thing. So I basically just made all the roads, and then I put a fire station in the middle, and then I just started welding everything around it. Now, it was kind of small, like I definitely could have made it bigger, but it was definitely big enough as most of the bombs, hit the city, and it's definitely big enough to test weapons on. So it's one of the problems with my old, lots of my old videos, you can't really test, anything on them, which kind of sucks. But this is how big it is. Yeah, as I was saying, lots of things in my old videos there was nothing really to test weapons on, which kind of sucked, but now we do. So then I got a car out. I don't remember who's this from, but I just got a car out. Now this is absolutely really annoying to drive on. Like if you're slightly fast, you are not going to be able to stay on the road. Here's a relatively fast car, and it's not even that fast, and it really struggles to stay on the roads. But that's also because probably my driving skills, and also I don't really want to slow down in the corners, which I'm pretty sure is what you do in real life. So then I just save the city, as I might want to use it again. I don't want to blow this thing to smithereens without saving it. I probably should have also made a backup save just in case, but I also didn't do that. Now this was pretty laggy as the thing fell through the world multiple times, just as it weighed a lot, which I probably should have seen coming as in the start, just the tiles started go through the floor a bit. But anyway, I got a cluster bomb just to see how good this thing would do, as I had a bit of an obsession with them back not too long ago, and I made quite a lot of them. As you can see, they did quite a lot of damage, but there's only really holes in the floor and it doesn't really look that damage, and the rows are still basically usable as they were before, but still pretty bad. This thing's going to look a lot worse pretty soon. So as you can see, the seas are a bit bland. It's basically repeats the entire thing. It's actually quite interesting to walk through, and you definitely could have some fun in here, especially if you had the PvP mod or something, like, I don't know. So anyway, I basically just continued to add more bombs, just destroy this thing. I even got this old cluster rocket thing, which basically has a rocket which turns into 4 rockets out, which is actually quite an old creation. But it was also pretty ineffective, because all the rockets never hit what's directly in front of them, which kind of sucks. But anyway, I aimed and then I, set fire. I can see the rocket goes out, drops, 4 rockets out, and then loads of other rockets, which looks pretty cool. They also don't do loads of damage, but realistically, they still do hit. It's just not to the scale that we want. So I started using more cluster bombs. I have loads of different types, like this one, which spreads more but does way less damage, which kind of sucks since we want to do more damage to destroy a city. But this place was going to look like a wasteland pretty soon, as we ain't going to stop anytime soon. Now, a big problem is that lots of the explosives didn't go off, which kind of sucks, but it doesn't really matter as most of them. So then I got some more cluster bombs out, and this one's got a really big spread and loads of bombs, but still doesn't do loads of damage. But it was pretty cool just to ride one up and then watch them as they fall and absolutely destroy a city. And as you can see, it's basically a massive net of explosives, and it just absolutely destroys the city. Now, there's so much just on the ground, not exploded, which kind of sucks, as these ones here would probably have actually got maybe to the sewers maybe. Oh no, I'm just interested in how much damage we can do. Many of them were also glitched into the ground, but anyway. As you see, there's lots of damage done. So yeah, we're gonna do a bit more with this city soon, but right now we're just gonna bomb it. And this bomber does a lot of damage and it drops large explosives, which is a massive fix, and I think it's definitely gonna do more damage, as it goes a lot deeper. Let's see, we dropped all the explosives and it's made up massive craters. And I'm pretty sure you can even see the sewers down there, which is pretty cool. As you see, we've got down the sewers, and it's not so safe down here anymore, seeing as this is actually the deepest place you can go. And then I tried using my scatter shot. It basically just has loads of explosives, and it probably would have done more damage if all of them didn't get exploded before, which kind of sucks, but that's what I'm playing for you. So yeah, the sewers are starting to become a bit unsafe, as there are basically holes everywhere in it, but it's still relatively safe. But anyway, we're going to do a bit more with the city. We're going to play a game. If you were in a city, where would you hide? Now, the safest option to play the sewers, but now here are all the options: the sewers, the office, the bathroom, an underground bunker, a fire station, or a tree. Now, they're all relatively safe, except the one in the tree, which surprisingly actually lasted quite a long time. So basically, just imagine you're a beacon. I don't know which colour's which, but the ones on the ground, deep underground, are in the sewers, like the purple one and the blue one. And then, yeah, you could basically just have to guess. The one in the fire station was really looking quite well protected, as it was inside the tower of the fire station, which had done a lot of damage, but there's also there was two fire stations, and in one of them the tower was actually still pretty well undamaged. Now this meant that there was also a lot of height in the tower, which actually does quite well at protecting you from bombs. So just imagine you're a beacon. So anyway, let's start. So basically, to be honest, I'm just going to use those cluster bombs from this thing. Basically and hopefully until the whole thing's gone. This one didn't go very well as it exploded in midair, but it looked pretty cool to watch from the route. Now, currently none are dead, but that's basically to be expected from one single one. So now let's just keep doing this until they start disappearing. And I'm gonna admit, I do really find it quite hard to keep track of them. So I think we might have lost one, but I don't know, since I didn't really count how many we had. So yeah. Now this cluster bomb does loads of damage as it drops a trail of 8 explosives, which is pretty deadly. And also it does that in quite a wide area, so yeah, this thing does quite a bit of damage. But still, quite a lot of them safe, except obviously some, which I think have got destroyed. The one in the tree is still fine for now, but that's only for now. So yeah, I think both in the sewers are fine. I think we haven't lost any yet, but I might be wrong because we had 10 to start with, I think. But anyway. Now, the ones in the houses were also pretty safe, as there are multiple floors the explosion need to get to. But still, yeah, they weren't really. I think we might have lost one, which was in one of the smaller houses, obviously cottage / cabins. I don't know what to call them, but it was looking okay. Now there were some which were getting off really easy, like the ones in the sewers, and I was really determined to make them not win. So I dropped quite a lot of bombs. This blue one was pretty lucky as it was under a building, and buildings are quite deep, are quite big and take a lot of explosives to get through. Now I probably could get rid of this whole thing, this normal instead of just explosives instead of using bombs, cluster bombs, but it doesn't really matter since this is a lot funner. Through the video you can see the roads getting way more unusable as the explosives broke them up. And also you can also go into the sewers a lot easier, but lots of the sewers were still untouched. As you can see, if you see the sword out there, the blue one in the house just got destroyed. Now this was probably because half the house is gone, but anyway. But I don't think I'd want to live in that house even. But the one in the tree, is still living on, so maybe we could hide in the tree. Although I wouldn't recommend it. I think some other ones have also gone, but I didn't really talk about them. But the one in the tree and also the bunker is actually pretty safe. So it might be safe. The main problem is the bunker's only made out of concrete, which isn't the strongest, as some of the roads, and if you look at them, they're, yeah, pretty damaged. So anyway, these explosives did quite a lot of damage, but still refused to destroy many things. And even on the tree was still there at this point, I'm pretty sure. But I was gonna play change pretty quickly. Now, the explosives kept taking different beacons out, well, slowly, but it's mostly because you need to do this for actually quite a long time to actually destroy anything and do significant damage. And as you see, everything's still there. Now this took a long time, and to be fair, it might be a bit boring to watch, which I'd understand. But anyway, I kept just spawning more bombs in and just letting it go. Now, this is like one of my dreams of scrap mechanic from a long time ago, even though it's a bit odd, I will agree with that. But anyway, I kept using world cleaners to clean the world of like free floating objects as they were causing a lot of lag, but the fire station one was still pretty secure. So yeah, I basically just kept dropping them to see what would happen. And I used quite a variety, since I definitely had an obsession with them not too long ago. Well, around a year to 2 years ago, I can't really remember. But I had quite an obsession and made a lot of them. So today we're actually going to be using quite a few of them. Although some of them didn't work, which is why I'm not using some. But it did take quite a long time, as it took around like 20 seconds of these things to just fly off and explode. But as you see, it's pretty intimidating to see this whole thing just rain down on you. But somehow, the tree is still there. The one in the tree is not destroyed yet, even though many are. But there is, well, we have lost two. There was one in the park, which was destroyed, I can't remember when. And I think we've lost another one, but I also can't remember which one. So yeah, I basically just kept dropping them, and this one was definitely the best as it did the most damage. But anyways, the tree still lives on, which is actually quite surprising. I definitely didn't expect a tree to be one of the best locations to survive, well, I know, cluster bombs. But we did lose one in the fire station. You can see the fire truck, which I didn't even paint red, destroyed, and it's not a fire truck, it's a car. Yeah, I was getting really lazy. But it was mostly because, well, it was in, well, the wrong place in the fire station. As if I moved it over a few blocks, it probably wouldn't be gone. But that doesn't matter too much. Now, many of the beacons were still very safe, and it would take a very long time to actually, well, go to them. But anyway. But something that was getting annoying as well, well, the blue one in the corner. This was basically unaffected by any other beacons, no beacons near it, and it was getting off pretty well, damage free. So we'd probably be dealing with that one later. So anyway, I just carried on with customs, trying to destroy at least another beacon. But this probably wasn't going to happen in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to say. It takes an extreme long time to get through buildings, apparently. But most of them are uninhabitable, it's just the beacons are still alive. So anyway, now we're going to try and attempt to get rid of the blue one. So I used a cluster bomb. So yeah, this didn't really end up working. It was extremely deep down, and even the other ones in buildings were not destroyed yet. Although this did do an insane amount of damage and actually did destroy quite a bit. So I got bored and just got my anti-aircraft gun and shot it. And then it exploded. Karma's, well, real. But then we had around 4 left. Now it was pretty obvious no one in the sewer was going to live. So I tried to make it slightly more interesting, but it didn't really end up working out. The sewers are absolutely damaged, it's just that the ones under buildings were pretty much safe forever. Like, it'd take a long time, so I carried on using my other weapons. But it still didn't work, basically. So then I attempted to use the battleship, which also didn't really work, and it led to a bit of a bigger problem, which was actually a very big problem. So I basically just tried to or shoot some more. Then it exploded, which is kind of to be expected, as usually work. But the problem is I welded it to the ground, so I got rid of it with a weld cleaner, which is what I normally do. Which also ended up getting the entire city, so now it's completely gone. I cannot be able to go through all that again, so this is where the video ends. I mean, it was not fun to make, and I've also kind of dreamed of making a city, but definitely not such a low effort one. And if I wanted to, I probably could make a more effort one. It's just that I was lazy and I only had 5-6 days to record this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It probably wasn't the best video, but I still enjoyed it, especially destroying a city. It's pretty satisfying.